Hello everybody, a very warm welcome back to the MEC-TEC Garage. Project Puma continues. Try and say that quickly, it's not easy. I've been working on this all week again to try and keep the momentum going. I'm not working on anything else until this is done because, as I've said previously, this needs to be back on the road ASAP. So without further ado, let's crack on and get some welding done and hopefully get this thing back in one piece without holes everywhere. Right, as you would have just seen that bit of time lapse there, that is all now fully welded in. I've run it over with a grinder. Not going to take the welds away completely, give them a little bit of strength, but I am really pleased with the way that's come out. It's really good, pretty chuffed with that. And I've done the same underneath, just show you quickly, just buzz back any sort of sharp edges and welds underneath there. It's all completely solid all the way down, as you can see, so that's all good. So I've spent a bit of time as well cleaning up this panel. You would have seen that in a bit of time lapse. I didn't film time lapse it all. I think what I'm going to have to do, is actually separate this section from this section. There's 3 spot welds there which are holding these together, because this has got slightly bent obviously where it's been jacked up on, and I've straightened it all out as you would have seen in the vise, and it's cleaned up pretty well. Got to remake this corner and this corner, but other than that it's okay. But I'm going to take this piece off I think and get that bit welded back on separately, and that will allow me to shape this end back to match the one on the car as well, because at the moment I find it difficult because obviously it's all in about 1 million panels, and well 2. But yeah, so that's what I think I'm going to do with that. These spot welds down the side here, by the looks of it, this over panel welds only to the under panel, if that makes sense. So I think I'm going to weld the holes up that I've drilled all the way through on this, which will then allow me to plug weld this back onto that once I've put this on first, if that makes sense, because this slides underneath it. And it'll also give me the opportunity to clean up between the 2 panels as well, get any rust out of there that's in between here. And hopefully that makes sense. I think that's the best way to do it. I've been looking at it for a little while now and I can't work out the best way to do it, so I think I'm going to have to do that. There's 3 spot welds I think I need to get off there, so I'm going to have a go at that and I'll come back to you in a minute. Righty ho, I've spent a bit of time cleaning up, as you would have seen this clean up, now separated it. These bits I said I was going to remake, I've actually just made shapes that kind of look original and just taken those bits of metal away. The rest of it's absolutely fine in good condition, so we're going to leave that as it is. I'm going to put this piece on first I think, and then put that bit back over the top after. Now you'll also see I've put a bit of time lapse in of me cutting out this panel. This is my new inner sill panel which I've made. Now as I said before, I'm not going to worry about the raised parts. Someone did mention in the comments about using maybe a blunt chisel to shape these out, but I think that's going to cause more harm than good as far as sort of misshaping the panel as such. So I've cut that out, I've done the holes in it as per original, they're all in, so hopefully we can get that offered up and welded. I've put some primer on all the areas in there now as well, weld through primer that is, and I've put some weld through primer on the insides of these as well. A couple little marks where I've been hammering it about, but I put weld through primer on both of those, so they're all hopefully going to be protected, and we can start hopefully getting a bit of this welded back in now, and we'll have at least the front section from here forwards will be coming back together again, which would be really good. So yeah, I'm not sure which one I'm going to weld on first, but one of these is going to get welded on, and then obviously I'll show you once I've done it. Right, with that lower bit all now welded in, I've spent a bit of time grinding back all the welds. As you can see along there, they're all nice and flat. All the plug welds. It doesn't look particularly pretty because that was an old piece of metal that wasn't in great condition, if I'm honest. Not rusty particularly, well it is a little bit, but it's pretty strong. So next thing I've got to do is, I've just had a little reshape of this piece, which you can see there, and that fits over the top of that one like that. And I've just been grinding these edges down slightly here to make sure this meets with this, because obviously I've had to re-straighten all this, and the shapes were obviously, where I've re-straightened it was slightly different, where I've obviously had one on the car and it's gone one shape, and one off the car and it's gone the other shape. So there's a big gap this end. I don't really know why, to be honest with you. I don't remember that being like that before. Yeah, not massively happy about that. I don't know whether it's full of sealer before or what, but obviously this is the original piece that came off of this, so it must have been like that. It's just obviously where it was crushed. I don't know what it's supposed to look like before, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to have a little sort of mess around with this. It might be once I've got this end or all of it tacked in, I can tap this around a bit and get it a little bit more in shape with that, just so that it's a little bit closer, and then we can just put a nice bead of sealer around the inside of there first. I'm going to put some weld through primer on the inside of here first before I do anything else, so I know that. And also I'm going to weld up these holes as well, so I can weld through these ones to weld it back together again. You can just about see that on camera. So I'm going to weld these ones up. We'll get some weld through primer on there, give it a clean up, get some weld through primer on there, and then we can lap that one over the top and hopefully get this welded back together again. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, but I'm sure we can do it, so let's carry on. Right, as you can see there, that is now tacked on only. I'm going to go, I've primed the inside of it already. As you can see, the primer's coming out the end here. I'm going to go round now and weld all round the edges. I've got plug welds to do along here. This edge doesn't have to be welded. I may run a little bead along the back edge of these lips at the edge of these little bits on the end here, just to be double sure that it's going to be safe and secure. I'll probably give this a tap about as I go. I've got to try and get 3 plug welds back onto that inner bit inside there, so it's going to be a combination of tapping this up and tapping that one down from the inside through the access hole that I made for the plastic plug. So it's going to be a bit of fiddling about, but it should be very much lovely and strong and in the right shape again by the time I finish, so it should be alright hopefully, I reckon. So let's crack on, get this welded in, and then we can start putting in that inner seal panel. Rightio, as you can see there now, that is all welded in. It's not, well, I want to say it's not neat. It is pretty neat. I've got a couple more plug welds to ground down here. Fairly pleased with it, I think. It's yeah, considering it was an old piece of metal, I think it's come out alright. And now this is back on this reinforcer. This floor is really strong now. There's no flex in it at all. Before it was flexing up and down like the clappers, but now it's really nice and strong. So the next thing to do now we're going to look at is going to be that inner seal panel that's laying over there that I made, and I need to get a new toy out of the arsenal that I've got, which I bought specifically for this. I actually bought a spot welder. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use it on this all the time, but I need to use it just for certain bits, hopefully, that I can sort of spot weld together. It might make things a bit quicker and also a little bit neater as well. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, you can see from there that looks fairly neat. Once that's, I'll clean it up a little bit more with a grinder, and obviously it's going to have seam sealer all over the seams around the edge of this, so it'll look original again, and probably some, well, we'll definitely have some, obviously some primer and some stone chip and whatever else over the top of it, so it will hopefully look pretty neat once it's all done. I'll get a little bit of primer over it for now, just so it doesn't flash rust, and we should be good on that side of things. That should be the floor on the front half of the car at least, complete, so it's pretty good. Let's carry on. Right, this is the new spot welder. It's a Clark CSW13T. Nice bit of kit. Only thing is, that I've just noticed is, now I've welded this reinforcer back in, the tip won't fit in between the floor and the lip and the reinforcer, so I can't actually use it up until here, which means I can only use it between here and here really, because this stuff's thicker. So I think what I'm going to do, rather than mess around, I know I've bought it for I've actually bought it to do this job, and I can still obviously use it going around the top here and stuff like that. The other thing is, I didn't realise there was 3 layers of metal which will be on here eventually. In fact, I think actually, they're thinking about it, yeah, there will be 3 layers on the top as well. And I don't know whether that will go thick enough, because if you look at the gauge on there, it gives you the measurements 2mm plus 2mm, 1.5 plus 1.5 and so on, but obviously it only takes into account 2 layers of metal, which is alright if I'm doing maybe 3 layers of 1.2, because that'll add up to obviously like 2 layers of 2mm, but this stuff's pretty lumpy and I don't know where it's going to go through that, and I don't obviously want it falling apart, so I may have to unfortunately not use it and revert to plug welding, which is a shame. I bought this probably about, well, when I found out that this needed a seal, I bought this. I didn't buy it brand new. It was basically brand new, but I didn't buy it brand new. So it may be that I can't use it, which is a shame, because this is primarily why I bought it. So maybe up for sale again if I don't use it. So I think for sort of time and sort of messing around, because obviously I haven't used it yet either, so I don't really know how it performs and set it up right and everything else. So that's my new panel, which is going to go in there. Obviously got all the holes and everything drilled in it now. So I think I'm going to go along the bottom edge and just drill some plug weld holes along the bottom of here. I don't need loads, because obviously it's going to be sandwiched in between this panel and the outer. But having said that, the outer's got to join to this, so it's got to be fairly strong. So yeah, I want to maybe have a look at this original bit and see how many spot welds there are along this bit, measure them out, and then measure them the same onto here, and hopefully we should be nice and strong. Then obviously we're going to have to seam weld it around the top and down the sides obviously, so it's going to be a mixture of welding from inside here and from the top inside here as well, because obviously when I go up to this end, I can't get to the outside of it, so I need to do it from the inside. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a jiggery pokery, but we should get there and it should be absolutely lovely and strong and marvellous. Right, I've got all the holes drilled, as you can see. Now I actually used a combination of things to do the holes. I used the spot welding drill bit, and I also used this, which is a joggler on one side and a punch on the other. As you can see, makes things a little bit easier. I've not used it before, it's another new tool I got a while ago, and it just speeds up obviously drilling the holes, because you haven't got to drill the whole hole. So I find that little punch is a little bit too small for plug welds, so you can see the little bits that it punches out just there. So I went over it again with my spot welding drill bit after I've got 2 size spot welding drill bits, the big one and the little one. I used the little one just so they weren't too big, and that should give us enough bite to plug weld that onto that bottom lip. I've also put some weld through primer on that bottom edge as well, so it's got some sort of protection in between it as well, once I put that on. And so I'm going to get this clamped on here now, get it all in position, and then we can start getting it welded in. let's carry on. Right, I was making lovely progress. Probably some of my best welding, to be fair. Nice and neat, pretty straight line. I haven't touched that, that's how it come out of the gun. And then I did that last weld there, and as you can see it's got like a little snotty bit hanging out of it. Now, I've run out of gas. So, I've got that big giant gas canister on the back there, which I've had for a while, but I've run out. So I don't want to go any further than that because obviously the welds won't be as good, they won't be as strong, yada yada yada. So unfortunately that's where I'm gonna have to stop, I think, because yeah, I've run out of gas and I've got to go and get some more. And I don't think they're open today, it's Saturday, so I think they're only open Monday to Friday, so that's a bit of a pain. Oh! Right then, that is going to be it for this episode on MEC-TEC. Unfortunately, the welding gas has stopped play and I can't go any further until I go and get a new bottle of gas. So that has put pay to that, unfortunately. But really happy with the progress. We've got that floor all in, we've got the reinforcer back on, we've got the inner seal panel half in now, or should I say, yeah, it is the inner seal panel, yeah. So that is looking really good and it is all mega strong. Now, no, it's not maybe quite as good as Yorkshire Car Restoration's welding. I am striving to be as good as them, but I'm doing the best I can and it looks fairly neat, so I'm pretty happy with it. Anyway, I'm waffling as per usual. If you do like what you see, make sure you do 4 things for me: like, subscribe, share and hit that notification bell. It's all free, it costs you absolutely nothing. Over 75% of my viewers aren't subscribed, so if you could just hit that little button for us, that would be absolutely superb. Remember, I've got Instagram, MEC_TEC1985, and I have got Facebook, MEC-TEC, for little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to, if I remember. And all that is left for me to say is thank you very much for watching, and if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys.